Hi, Mark DeJesus here, and I want to address an important subject, and that is our first step towards moving into the healing process. The first thing you really need to engage is how you address the subject of pain. Now, when it comes to pain, there's two areas that you need to be aware of. One is the things that happened to you that shouldn't have happened. It can go all the way back to childhood. It can be many of the traumas that you experienced or the dramatic things that were very hurtful to your life. Things that happened to you that shouldn't have happened. The second area is a little bit harder to detect. It was the things you needed that you didn't have. The loving support, words of affection, having a father who spoke love over your life, having a mother who was nurturing, having people have your back in certain situations and certain times where people were passive when they should have been more active in protecting you in your life. So those two areas create what we often call pain. What's pain? It's an area of our life that affects us. And these areas from our history, from our past relationships, affect us in our present circumstance and can prevent us in certain areas of our life moving forward. Now, a lot of Christians have a hard time with the issue of pain because we typically spiritualize it away, and we often move into a place that's more like denial. It's not really a healthy place. A lot of times Christians will say, well, Mark, it's under the blood. And I would say, well, if it's under the blood, meaning under the blood of Jesus, then you'd have no problem talking about it because that means you're healed and you're doing well. Well, then they get all nervy and nervous and a wreck. And I would say, it's really not under the blood if it's under the carpet. If it's just constantly hidden, you've suppressed your pain. And see, there's two often responses that we have to pain that we need to address in our life. The first is the denial area. I want to ignore it. I want it to go away. We become stuffers, so we stuff it down because it's too difficult to face. We numb out. We check out. We find work. We find activities that we immerse ourselves in that keep the denial world going so that we don't have to face, we don't have to deal with the pain. Now, on another side of the spectrum is just as dangerous, and that's the victim pathway, which is you engage the pain, but you're imprisoned by it and it's not productive. So there becomes an ungodly kind of process where the grief is not helping. It's you're looking at yourself as a victim. Self-pity is becoming more of a way of thinking, feeling sorry for yourself. I'll never break free. Things will never change. A lot of self-loathing and hating on yourself, negativity, and then just overall misery. So we often fall into one end of the spectrum. We can tend to bounce back and forth in certain areas. You might be a victim in some areas of your life, and you might be in just massive denial, not ever dealing with another issue in another area of your life. Regardless, the pain needs some kind of outlet, it needs some kind of attention. And typically what happens is because we don't have tools to grieve through our pain, to heal through our pain, it often leads us down to addictions. So we're in a woe is me, misery, negativity. We need an outlet. So we go to addictions. And it can be anything, honestly, folks, from illegal drug addiction, a prescription drug addiction, to alcohol, to sugar addiction, to carb addiction, to romance novels, to pornography, to Netflix binging, to just working constantly and just going to work and going to work. It can be religious addiction where you just keep being involved in church and more activities and more this and more that, more this and more that. What you're doing, you're ignoring your pain. Modern day Christians are professionals at not dealing with pain. And we live in denial, and then when we finally face the pain, we go victim. You see, this side over here is often covered with pride. We don't want to look bad. We don't want to be vulnerable. Then when the pain really comes to the surface and we crash or burn and experience a nervous breakdown or have some kind of mental collapse, then we go victim. And so we swing back and forth between these two, and we don't know how to land ourselves because we've not been taught how to grieve. So the first thing we need to do is become more honest about our pain and stop using our addictions to numb it out. So what's the addiction you go to? What's the thing that you dive into that doesn't allow you to deal with your pain? You binge out on TV shows, you binge out on ice cream. When those areas flare up more, people say to me, Mark, I have so much sugar addiction right now. I have so much carb addiction, or all I want to do is just binge watch Netflix or Hulu or be on YouTube for hours, or I just can't, I'm at work all day and I can't stop. That's a sign of pain. It's a sign of being in pain. Maybe your addiction is your thoughts are running endless and obsessive and they don't stop. You can't sit still. You can't sit with nothingness. You got to have activity going on, stimulation going on, or else you can't handle that. You get restless and antsy and very ADHD. It's another form of addiction. It's just your mind being addicted to just staying on, and not having a rhythm of rest and recovery. It's what causes many people to get very obsessed in their thinking. And so, how do we begin to resolve this? The first step is we got to change our response to pain. Where am I in my life experiencing pain of things that have happened to me that create pain, or things that didn't happen that maybe should have? Maybe the didn't happen is disappointment. You have massive disappointment in your life you haven't dealt with. You haven't grieved before God and done an exchange with Him. I'm going to talk about doing an exchange with God and what that can look like. But we have to first say, God, I'm going to change my response to pain because it's leading me down some deadly paths. It's leading me into some problematic responses, and I need to get more honest and allow you to come and heal those areas of my heart. I hope this helps you. If it has, send me a note. Let me know other topics that can be helpful to you in your journey. But I pray this adds value to the heart healing process that God, I know, wants to do in your life. God bless you.